My name is Zef Malele. I am your Director of Proceedings for today, and I am also one of the members of the board of Sci-Bono. I just want to very quickly deal with some of the protocol issues and recognize a few people, starting with the MEC, Matume Chilwane. Thank you very much for making the time. Today is an important day for Sci-Bono. The partnership with the department is critical for the work that we are doing for the people of the province and the country. We would like to also just make sure that we deal with the protocol issues for some of the other partners in the department, specifically Advocate Alison Benston, who's also here with us. We do a lot of work together in this particular space. Thank you very much for being here, for gracing our occasion. I also want to recognize another partner of ours, Lisedi Boehang, who is here from the NLC. We also want to recognize the presence of Dr. Jingwan Chen, who is from the Council for Science and Technology at the embassy, Chinese embassy, and also recognize the presence of our friend Jacob Kawe, who is the Deputy Chairman of Methu Goniwe, and of course the CEO of Methu Goniwe, who is also here, who always supports us in the work that we do, and of course Albert Chani from the department. What could we do without you? You've been there all the way, right from the start. Having said that, we also have directors of Sci-Bono who are here because this is their event. It's important that they also support it as best as they can. And I must mention that we've got two of the directors who are on virtual at the moment because of other national duties that they are carrying out. Professor Bantwini and Mr. Mashani Mpatlele, they are on virtual. They can confirm if they can hear me properly so that we do the necessary adjustments. And we've got other guests who are also on virtual. But I want to also recognize the CEO of Sci-Bono, who is a director of this company and the leader of the executive team, who is here, and the chairman of Sci-Bono, Mr. Vetboy, AB Vetboy, who is also here, a leader of the PAC from a governance perspective. Gottfried Sotetsi, who is also a member of the board, and of course, Monica Shale, who is a member of the audit committee, is also here. Dr. Vatiswa Papu Zamkaka, a returning soldier for Sci-Bono, all of us know her. And of course, we have Professor Sitole, who is also a member of the board, who is with us here today. Having said that, there are very important people amongst us here who are partners of Sci-Bono, particularly those that are involved in programs with us. We also welcome you indeed. We couldn't do much without the partnerships that we have. Partnerships is the secret to success for this particular institution, Sci-Bono. For 21 years, the march goes on. Thanks, MEC Chilwane, for the partnership. For 21 years, we've been busy making sure that we don't only keep the doors of learning open for the children of this province, but we also make sure that they focus on the things that matter in terms of the new world of life, the way that the 4IR is changing every aspect of our lives, whether it's the way that we learn or teach or work or play. Technology is playing a major role, and Sci-Bono is there to make sure that we partner with the department and all our partners to make sure that we prepare our children, our young people for the new world where AI, 4IR, and drones and coding and all those things have defined the way that we live, work, and play. Without further ado, I would like to make sure that we catch up with our program, which is not very, very long. I have been informed that there will be a QR code so that you know where we are in terms of the proceedings. If the QR code could be put up, please, so that those that have mobile technology can actually scan the programs. But I'll go through the program very quickly, just so that you know what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. We're going to have an opening address, which will be done by the chairman of Sci-Bono, and then we'll have a CEO's report. Then we'll have an audited annual financial statements presented by the CFO. We will have an introduction of the keynote speaker, and for now we'll keep the keynote speaker secret until the right time. And of course, we'll have the governance report, which will be delivered by the company secretary. Then the audit committee chair will do a bit in terms of the governance side of the business, and we'll have Patricia Maluka, who is also a member of the board, to do the vote of thanks at the end. And of course, we've prepared some culinary experience for yourselves. Without further ado, I would like to move on and invite the chairman of the board, Mr. Abby Vedboy, to welcome us all.
Let me take this opportunity to thank you for the introduction, Program Director, and greet our MEC and Matume Chilwane, MEC. You are greeted, and also greet the DDG for Gauteng Department of Education, Mr. Chane, as well as the DDG, Ms. Benston. We are also acknowledged. And also let me acknowledge all the esteemed guests. I'm trying to save time, and all protocol observed. Well, my task this afternoon is to present to you the report on behalf of the Board of Directors for the financial year 2023-2024. During this period, the company proudly launched 3 years of its instrumental projects, being the multimedia broadcasting studio, the classroom of the future, and the 4IR Center. Those are some of the flagship projects which we are very much proud of as an institution. In addition to these projects, the company also successfully concluded a sale of immovable property for the acquisition of the Mahalis River Lodge, a property acquired to make sure that we diversify our income stream. This has been a very strategic task that the board has set itself to achieve. And I must say that we want to take gratitude to the current CEO for making sure that he has propelled the institution in that direction. And we can see, CEO, that the machinery now is moving in that direction, and very soon we expect to see some concrete results. The board, as I have said, has been seized with the discussion in so much that we had various initiatives which were put through the business model canvas, which the board is looking at. Because we believe that the PMC, which is the business model canvas, will serve as a blueprint for delivery of our offerings, value creation, and how to generate more revenue streams, as well as to address issues of capacity. This will further assist in the enhancement and alignment of systems for improved operational efficiency and innovation. The partnerships and collaboration strategy is beginning to gain momentum as well, as we have seen the signing of many partnerships, and some of the institutions have been invited to this event. We remain very grateful to the MEC and the GDE for their confidence and support in ensuring that Sci-Bono achieved its strategic objectives. The board remained strongly focused and rooted in ensuring good governance practices are observed by subjecting itself to broad evaluation processes in compliance with the King IV codes. It further demonstrated consistent dedication, fostering a culture of high performance, unity, resilience, and by providing ethical leadership. It fulfilled all its fiduciary duties by holding all its scheduled meetings, and that its committees are functional and operate within their mandate as espoused in their terms of references. In 2019-2024, our strategic plan, which is the 2019-2024 strategic plan, laid out 5 outcomes-based goals as a foundation for growth. As we enter into this new cycle, the board endeavors to develop new strategic goals that further amplify and enhance our 2019-2024 strategic objectives to align with the changing political and economic landscape. Our plans for the new decade will be to ensure that we broaden our reach and become known and to be an obvious go-to provider for maths, science, technology, and innovation initiatives. We invite corporate institutions to partner with us in ensuring that the youth of South Africa play a leading role in technology and innovation. Our doors are open, colleagues, for collaboration. We want to ensure that Sci-Bono, as we are a prestigious institution, makes an impact in ensuring that the MST strategy becomes a success. In conclusion, I want to say that on behalf of the board, I would like at this point to welcome all new staff members to the family of Sci-Bono. Welcome new board members who have joined us, as a family, and express our gratitude at large to our staff members. Because what you see today is a demonstration of commitment. I am very impressed with the work that the staff is continuing to put forward for the benefit of the institution. And therefore, I also need to extend a word of thanks and appreciation to our stakeholders, to say that we call upon you, those who have been in partnership with us, making some contributions. We would like to see a double up contribution. If you are giving us 10 million, at least we would appreciate if you can double that to 20 million. With those few words, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you all to this August occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I know that institutions like Sci-Bono, who may be gems in their own way of doing things, but if they don't do governance and accountability properly, they shall perish. Thanks for leading from the front to make sure that we're not one of those. Governance underlined by accountability is how you have taught us to do things at Sci-Bono. Thank you very much. Without further ado, I'm going to invite the Chief of the Executive PEC, the CEO, to come and do his bit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Program Director. MEC, Mr. Kopano Chilwane, Acting HOD, Mr. Cheney, Senior Managers from government, board members of Sci-Bono, board members from sister organizations, leadership from institutions of higher learning, esteemed scholars and guests, good day. In the interest of time, I'll just try to take you through of what we have achieved over the past 2 decades, which for us represents 20 years of impact on science and innovation. We were celebrating our platinum anniversary. In fact, we are 21 years to be exact. We were established in 2024. What started as a project of the Gauteng provincial government together with private sector funders, as well as institutions of higher learning. This was a project. This used to be an electric workshop, which was donated by the city. I'm glad that the city is here today. At some point, I thought the city was on strike, which for me was a contradiction because they were part of the foundation years of Sci-Bono, so the city is back. We have transformed into one of the leading education tourism sites in South Africa. We are the largest science center in the Southern Hemisphere and second largest in Africa after Egypt. I always want to emphasize that. That is about us because these things change. So when things change for the West, we must think about the glory years. So we are here in front of you as our stakeholders, embracing our integrated reporting journey. For us, this emphasizing an act of transparency, accountability, but at the same time, we want to share insights about sustainability challenges. We have therefore embraced, despite our funding challenges, a data-driven fundraising strategy where we would want to outline a roadmap of the important work that we still have ahead of us. So we are looking at promising pipelines on projects. But we are not only looking on projects, we are also looking on grants, colleagues, as you engage with us. We are interacting with institutions of higher learning, we are interacting with SITAs, diplomatic missions, including government, wherein we are positioning Sci-Bono as a dynamic hub for STREAM, science, technology, reading, research, engineering, arts and mathematics, which is our the STREAM notion is our contribution to scholarship and the sector. And you'll remind me one day that this is what you had planted as a seed together with the Global Center for Academic Research led by Prof. Costa. And I see our colleagues are here today. And thanks so much, colleagues. This is a huge contribution to the sector, introducing reading and research into STEAM. Of course, all our programs are aligned to the National Development Plan with a bias towards education programs in the province. You know, and you must feel that at least you are making a difference as Gauteng Department of Education. But of course, we are trying to build sustainability. The one major risk that we have, if we were to look at all our risks, is over-dependence on one funder. And I'm saying one funder because it's Gauteng Provincial Government, led of course by Gauteng Department of Education and other departments that could be here today. I am aware that the Office of the Premier is also running some of the programs with Sci-Bono. I'm aware that social development, transport, and other departments in the province are supporting us. At a national level, of course, we are affiliated to the Department of Science, Innovation, and Technology. So, because of dwindling funding, we were therefore forced to develop a revenue diversification strategy. And this revenue diversification strategy is led at an office that we have just established, which is the Project Management Office. So these efforts in that office are towards driving strategic partnerships, but also unlocking efficiencies in the system to ensure that this institution is financially sustainable. As the chair would have mentioned, one biggest acquisition for the year under review was the acquisition of Magalies River Lodge as part of our revenue diversification. And with that lodge, we are running all our camps in Gauteng and outside Gauteng. But whilst you are here, I might as well share with you, please use that lodge. We use that lodge for leisure as well. So as stakeholders, when you have corporate functions, when you have visitors coming to the province, please recommend that lodge. So we are encouraging collaboration through these partnerships because we are also generating alternative revenue streams. If I may report, ladies and gentlemen, that for 2024-2025, we launched very important programs which were launched by the Premier and the MEC. Firstly was the multimedia broadcasting platform. Secondly was the smart classroom, which is biased towards ECD programs. And then the 4IR Center, which houses the clubhouse, the science clubhouse, where young ones come after school. They are taught on coding. We also assist them with their school project, coding and robotics, here at the center. And we have experienced a lot of growth on our AI for Youth programs, which is run at the Intel Sci-Bono Youth IT Academy. We are training on robotics there. We have our career center, a fully fledged career center where we provide career counseling. We also do career exhibitions here at the center. On the teacher development and support program, working together with Methu Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance. And I want to remind you, our focus is on STEM subjects. And Methu Goniwe carries the mandate of teacher development. So we most of the time collaborate on these initiatives. But the intention, of course, is to position Sci-Bono as an innovation center because we are driving digital transformation as a hub. On expanding our value proposition, program director, we have embraced the business model canvas, which we are using it as a strategic planning tool to sharpen our value proposition. But we also want to optimize the center resourcing, but we also want to strengthen partnerships through these initiatives. We want to position Sci-Bono at some point to be a go-to consultancy on research and business intelligence. Dr. Vati, I would have had feedback from you on the improvements. Dr. Vati is currently the DVC, the last time I checked, she was the DVC at TUT for research and internationalization. She is back. She used to be with Sci-Bono board since around 2012 or so, if not earlier. She is back now. She has joined the center, and she has made that observation immediately that there's an improvement on research and development. Quickly on skills development, through our skills revolution, for the year or for the period under review, we have touched over 2,000 youth that we have trained on ICT, we have trained on coding, on web development, graphic design, and employability enhancement programs. Again, working together with the industry and the department, Gauteng Department of Education on the multi-certification programs. So these are some of the developments that we want to report about and the impact that we are making to society. We've also trained educators on SACE accredited programs. Over 13,000 educators benefited from this program across the foundation phase, intermediate phase, and senior phases. So there is one concept that we have been working on and it's reaching fruition. We are just waiting for few announcements. This is on Sci-Bono skills, the building of the Sci-Bono skills principle. This is designed to establish an integrated ecosystem for skills development, training, and innovation. And we are looking at skills that are going to make our economy tick. These are skills that are integrating vocational learning, technical learning, as well as digital skills as we respond to labor market skills, and positioning Sci-Bono as a hub for skills innovation. I have spoken about research, and on research, our focus has been mainly on ICT integration in science education, teacher professional development, curriculum development, as well as artificial intelligence. That's where we have started. We have re-established our research unit with the assistance of the Global Center for Academic Research to a point that our research output has increased. You can confirm when you visit research platforms like ResearchGate, you can go to Google Scholar, you can go to academia. There is huge improvement. There is just huge improvement. We are also improving on our partnerships and exchange programs. We have sent students and we have also received students from China, from Estonia, from Thailand, and I'm aware that there was a team that was sent to the UK recently on these exchange programs. This is the impact that we are making as a Science Center. As I conclude, Chairperson, perhaps I will start briefly with the outputs that would have delivered between 2024 and 2025. Chair, we have been able to reach over 59,000 learners through our Science Center initiatives, and these were direct interventions. Over 192 educators were trained through our ABE program. Almost 100,000 participants were touched on our science engagement and awareness programs. 301 students were trained on ICT employability programs. 68 schools were reached through the Science Center outreach activities. We have created an enabling environment for improved learner performance in STEM subjects. We have strengthened teaching capacity across underperforming districts. We have made an impact by touching on communities, because our focus is not only on learners, it's on educators as well as ordinary members of the public, for them to gain competence and fluency on engaging with abstract science subjects. We have reinforced our trust and alignment with the provincial government, particularly the Gauteng Department of Education. That's why they are here, I want to believe. And as I close, Program Director, I must also mention that it is not easy to achieve this. There are strategic trade-offs that must be considered. Firstly, we have to strike a balance between reach and the depth of our programs. We have to make difficult choices on infrastructure development against expanding programs. We have to also strike a balance between investing in innovation and remaining risk tolerant. But in the main, it's about public accountability versus operational agility. But the most important thing, will not stop doing what we are doing, even though it's sometimes almost impossible, but we will not stop, because all our programs are pro-poor, and we remain committed to supporting the poor, the marginalized in society, and those that have nothing and depending on our programs. Thank you so much, Program Director.
Thank you very much, CEO. You're making me very envious. How I wish I grew up as a young person in this era where there is so much support in terms of making sure that you study and prepare for the new world order, where technology reigns supreme. Our children and our young people are living in good times and are in good hands in terms of the leadership from Sci-Bono and the Department of Education. Thank you very much. Without further ado, I'm going to ask the CFO of Sci-Bono to come and give us the numbers perspective of what we've had so far. CFO.
Good afternoon once again. I hope now you can hear me. Let me greet the MEC. Let me greet the HOD, DDG Alison, CEO of Metikoniwe, Mr. Mahlangu, colleagues from the Chinese Embassy. We started this journey last year. We are here now. Let me greet the Board of Directors of Sci-Bono, my EXCO colleagues, CEO, our research colleagues as well, I see you. Let me also greet our frenemies, which are our internal auditors and external auditors. I have not seen the internal auditors, but our external auditors are here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to present a very brief report. What I'm presenting is already in the annual report that you've got in your tables right there. So it's a short report that I'll be presenting. I hope you can see it. It's just 5 aspects that we'll be touching into. Where we'll be spending most of the time will be under section 2. The first section is in terms of the approval of the financial statements and the audit outcome, where the Board of Directors has approved the audited financial statements for the financial year ending 31 March 2025. They've also approved the audit outcome, which is an unqualified audit. However, there is an emphasis of matter in the audit in terms of the net loss that the company has recorded of 120 million. So as well as the financial position where the current liabilities of the institution are exceeding the current assets of the institution. So that's in terms of the financials and the audit, where we've got now audited, or let me rather say approved audited annual financial statements for the financial year 2025. As I've reported, for this financial year, we have incurred a deficit of 120 million. That's a significant movement when you compare it to the surplus that we got in the previous financial year of 3.2 million. Whilst we had the increase in income of 6%, there was a huge increase in terms of expenditure, where the expenditure increased by 23%. And this is largely colleagues to the fact that over 89% of our income is grant funding. And as such, in the nature of grant funding, most of them, they are project-based. So it's money that comes in and money that has to go out for us to implement our projects. And you will have noticed the CEO touched on the funding mechanisms that we are trying, and also the chairperson, because what we are striving for as we move to the next financial year is to have sufficient money to be able to fund the operations of the organization. Whilst the implementation of projects is going well, and there is an increase in terms of funding, however, there is a decline in terms of funding for the operations of the organization, and that's where we are struggling most. Contributing to the deficit for the financial year, it's a movement, or let me say a generalization of what we had considered to be assets in the previous financial year of e-learning content that has been expensed into the financial performance statement, and that has contributed to the loss that we have recorded. And we have documented in terms of the annual report, in terms of the reasons why such has happened, and also in terms of that e-learning content, why it has been moved. The larger reason being that this is for the public benefit, and as such, we came to a conclusion with the auditors that this cannot be held as assets because they are for the delivery of a certain service for public benefit. And that's why we've moved them to the income statement as expenditure rather than holding them as assets. So as you analyze our income, you will notice the biggest item there will be our grant income. So our total income was 407 million. Out of that, 95% of it, which is 385 million, is grant income. That means from 407 million, 95% of that money, it comes with a condition, whether it's declared as a conditional grant or non-conditional grant, but you know for sure that because it's a grant, there's certain activities that you need to take care of. That's why even our investment income will have decreased when you compare it to the previous financial year, because most of the money was related to grants, which means it's money in and money out, which means we are not able to save much that we can be able to invest. That's why even that item of investment income has decreased from 12 million to 7.9 million. Our other income was sitting at 4.4 million, and in terms of money that we've generated through those gates, it was 9.8 million, almost 10 million. But you can see there that it only represents 2% of total income. In terms of expenditure, you will notice the biggest item there is project costs, as we've stated. So out of that 89% of income, most of it will be going to the grants. That's why you see that bigger block of with the navy color. That represents the amount of money that we execute towards projects. And that's why we are sitting where we are sitting. If you were to compare the two, you will notice that this bigger navy color, it will be bigger than your other color when you compare it to the total income for the institution. When you look at our operational costs as well, you can see there is an increase of 10%, but also to highlight the fact that out of the 407 million, about 175 million has to go into operations as well, which then also puts a burden on what we can implement in a particular financial year. This next section is in terms of the balance sheet. In terms of PPE, or property, plant and equipment, we didn't have much movements, as we have stated that much of our money went into implementation of the grants, so we did not have much money as compared to the previous financial year where we would have done the studio, we would have done the exhibitions, but this year we had minimal to be able to do that. We had an increase in terms of intangible assets, and that will relate to upgrading our existing assets in terms of softwares. The Mahalis River Lodge at 14.8 million, that's the lodge that we have acquired to diversify our revenue streams. Colleagues, we have also withdrawn the investment that we had. So in the previous financial years, we would have reported an investment which was sitting at 121 million in the previous financial year. In this financial year, we had withdrawn that investment due to the circumstances which I've outlined in the statement of financial performance, because the institution did go into a period where we experienced a very large financial cash flows challenges, so we had to withdraw that money in order to be able to recover from that state. When we were withdrawn the investment, it was sitting at 128 million. We incurred penalties of 3.9 million in terms of the withdrawal. When we look at our current assets for the financial year, our receivables were sitting at 18.5 million, and a larger part of that was refunds from the revenue services. Our bank balances were sitting at 9.6 million. In terms of equity and liabilities, the biggest movement, the 120 million that we recorded in our statement of financial performance, that is because of the 120 million that we recorded in our statement of financial performance, that has decreased our liabilities. All these are in the ordinary course of business. And this is the last slide, Chair, and colleagues, where liabilities, all these are in the ordinary course of business. And this is the last financial challenges in the previous financial year, where we are sitting with the funding that we've got from especially the GDE, the GPG, and other funders. We find ourselves in a position where we can, we have assessed ourselves to be a going concern, and we should be operational for the next coming 12 months up to the end of 2026, 31 March. And in terms of subsequent events, there were no other events that have occurred after we have concluded the financial year. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for reminding us that we actually are not in the business of declaring dividends here. We dispense a lot of public good. Thanks to the partnership with the department, right now it's examination time, and in January you'll see some of the public good that we are known for when you see the results outcome for the province. Thank you very much, CFO. The next item is above my pay grade. I'm going to ask the chairman of the board, Mr. Vedboy, to come and deal with it, please.
Thank you very much, Program Director. What I've learned recently is that the prominent people don't like to have a long introduction, because they say it's like you are reading an obituary. So we are not here in a funeral, so I'm not going to be reading. That's why I didn't even prepare anything, Program Director. But we are going to have a speech now from our keynote address, and we will be addressed by none other, the MEC, who is a young activist, and who is bringing a lot of change within the department in terms of the outlook in as far as the education of Gauteng is concerned. Is bringing a lot of energy and very soon you are going to see a rollout, massive rollout of youth development within Gauteng, because that's his passion. And he was the chair of the Youth League in the province, but is now in the second term. That's because of the work that he has been doing in the education landscape, and we want to call the MEC, Matume Chulwane, to the front to give his address. Thank you very much.
This picture looks, it's as if I'm angry, man. I look upset. Eh? I guess I'll blame Voyo Maga. I think on the day they were the ones who were taking this picture. So Voyo, we are going to be doing for us. Thank you so much. To the leadership, the program director. The program director is my father's friend. It's my father's friend. I always emphasize. When I meet the old man, he asks me, how are you? Say, you know, old man, you're in pension, you're enjoying pension. Your friend is busy drawing salaries. He's refusing to retire. Thank you so much, our program director, the chair of the board, Mr. Vitboy, members of the board, the CEO, management, staff of Sci-Bono, our partners, the Chinese embassy that is present with us here today, the department led by our acting HOD, Mr. Chani. I think he has left now. He said he's got a doctor's appointment. But the DDG is here, Advocate Benson. I got no more problems. Advocate Benson, the silent T. And all the officials from the Department of Education in our province, leaders from different departments, Gautrain leadership, management that is here today with us, the leadership of Matthew Koniwe, led by the chair, the deputy chair, and the CEO, and other board members that I might have missed here today, guests and friends. I want to begin by being direct with you, because today you deserve honesty. Sci-Bono stands at a critical juncture, not a moment of failure, but a moment of necessary choice. I'll be the first to admit the programs that Sci-Bono executes work. The people here are dedicated. The impact is real, and there's all evident in this year's achievement as evinced in your annual report. However, the annual report also reflects a financial reality that we must address strategically, decisively, and immediately. Over the past 18 months, the organization has faced sustainability challenges that require urgent attention from all of us. I'm encouraged that these challenges are addressable. We have a window to respond. And with the right decisions made quickly, Sci-Bono can emerge stronger, more focused, and more sustainable for another 20 years of impact. But this will require clarity, honesty, and action. This is what I want to speak to this afternoon. The secondary school improvement program continues to exceed targets, reaching thousands of learners across our province. However, for me, and this I've made clear many times, that the money we spend is not commensurate with the impact. In SIP, CEO, Chair, DDG, we should be sitting at a much higher outcome in the NEC. The broadcasting multimedia platform, which now serves over 400 schools, connecting our best educators with learners who might otherwise lack access to quality STEM instruction. CEO was also thinking that perhaps it's time that you link this with some of our social media pages, especially for live streaming. Those in ICT know better, but some of our social media pages have got huge following, so that will give them more reach. You know, in Gauteng, we don't want to be number one, but we also want to share our knowledge. It doesn't matter where the child is in the country, you know. So if we can give them access to the quality teachers, why not? The teacher development programs have upskilled our educators across all 15 districts, and the designation of Sci-Bono as an Intel AI youth site pilot that is positioning us alongside only 11 countries globally is testimony to the excellence that this organization has built. These are not abstract achievements. Behind these numbers are real learners discovering their passion and capacity for science and mathematics. Real teachers gaining confidence to teach technology. Real schools in poor communities gaining access to resources they would otherwise never have. Real young people, particularly girls, being introduced to careers in STEM that previously seemed impossible for them. That impact is significant. That impact matters. That impact reflects extraordinary dedication from your board, your management, and your staff. And I want to recognize that publicly and really with genuine gratitude and say to the leadership of Sci-Bono and management, thank you. Further, today, I want to address something that the financial statements make abundantly clear, and which a responsible leadership requires us to speak directly to. Sci-Bono faces financial sustainability challenges that demand urgent attention, as I've said, from all of us: government, the board, management, corporate partners, and civil society. This organization has been operating under structural funding constraints. Government grant funding, while substantial and vital, is typically, as articulated by the CFO and the CEO, project specific. Grant funding direct programs delivery, but they do not automatically sustain organizational infrastructure, facility maintenance, staff development, technological advancement, or the systems that keep an institution running year after year. The result is this. Sci-Bono has been delivering excellence while drawing down investment reserves to cover the gap between what programs cost and what grants provide. This is not sustainable. Investment reserves are limited. Their end is approaching, or it has actually arrived. Additionally, the private sector partnership that were described in previous years as invaluable have not maintained their earlier momentum. And commercial revenue streams from venue rental, specialized programming, intellectual property, and all remain underdeveloped relative to their potential. This situation did not emerge gradually. It accelerated dramatically over the past 18 months. Something material changed, and we need to understand what changed. And we need to respond to it strategically rather than incrementally. The best way to describe something is to first state clearly that which it is not. So I want to be clear about what this is not. This is not a crisis of program quality. Sci-Bono's educational outcomes speaks for themselves. This is not a crisis of organizational competence. Your board and management have navigated complex challenges with skill and integrity. This is not a failure of commitment. Your staff continues to show up every day to deliver excellence under difficult circumstances. What this is a structural funding challenge. It is a mismatch between the cost of delivering a world-class mandate and the predictable funding available to sustain it. It is a question about how Gauteng chooses to invest in STEM education infrastructure. It is a problem that has solutions, but only if we act decisively and soon. The organization receives substantial government grant funding, but each program is budgeted separately. But who is funding? As I've said earlier, the buildings. Who's funding the CEO's office? Who funds the financial systems? Who funds the capacity to manage all these programs simultaneously? And you've got it right. Over the past 20 years, there was investment returns, reserves, and organizational bandwidth of dedicated staff working beyond their capacity. That model worked, but it cannot work indefinitely. At the same time, we must acknowledge that the operating environment has changed. The cost of technology infrastructure has not decreased. The cost of skilled staff has not decreased. The expectation for program quality has not decreased. Yet funding has not increased proportionally. And in some cases, funding that once came from private sector has dried up. A year ago on this podium, I spoke of 5 dysfunctions of a team, which are the absence of truth, fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and the lack of attention to results. I urge you to avoid that cycle at all costs. Today, I must tell you that the financial crisis is itself a dysfunction. It is the consequence of decisions, some made by necessity, some made by hope, some made by omission, that have accumulated over time. It is not a failure of character, it is a failure of financial model sustainability. We need decisions and commitments across 3 interconnected areas. We need them with genuine urgency. These are critical decisions I urge Sci-Bono to take urgently. Firstly, we need an honest assessment of the program portfolio. Not all programs are created equal, and not all programs require equal investment. Not all programs generate equal impact per rand spent. Sci-Bono must ask difficult questions. Which programs represent our highest impact? Which could be enhanced through strategic partnership rather than direct delivery? Where do we need to make choices about scope? CEO, I know this is not comfortable, but an organization that does everything at half strength serves no one. An organization that prioritizes ruthlessly serves its mission far better. You may need to sunset some programs. You may need to transfer programs to other organizations, better positions to deliver them. You may need to restructure delivery models. These are not signs, as I've said, of failure. They are signs of strategic maturity. Secondly, strategic clarity from government is imperative. DDG, the GDE must urgently determine its commitment level to Sci-Bono's sustainability, not simply project by project, but as an institutional partner. What is government willing and able to invest in organizational sustainability, not just programmatic delivery? This conversation requires honesty, it requires budget realism, but it is essential. If government can increase commitment, particularly around overhead and organizational costs, that changes the calculus significantly. If government cannot, then we need to say clearly, and we need to support the organization restructuring that becomes necessary. Honestly speaking, the department values Sci-Bono's contribution, but value must be expressed in sustained funding. Otherwise, we are complicit in allowing institutional capacity to erode. Thirdly, we need diversified partnership and revenue. I'm happy that the leadership of the institution have noted that single funding source can't sustain this institution. And at this point, I made clear last week to your sister organization at the AGM, Matthew Goniwe, the CEO and the chair were there. When I said education infrastructure in the fourth industrial revolution requires corporate engagement, support of foundations, international partnership, and commercial activity. And all of this must be pursued systematically and simultaneously. Corporate partners must move from ad hoc project sponsorship to formalized partnerships with defined contributions. International foundations and donors must be engaged. Commercial revenue streams must be developed with intentionality, like premium venue rental, specialized STEM camps, intellectual property licensing, and international capacity building. The private sector's relationship that existed in previous years must be rebuilt through strategic value propositions. So let me be quite clear about what will not work. Cost cutting alone will not bridge the gap. Operational efficiency will assist a great deal, but efficiency cannot be a substitute for structural funding transformation. You cannot cut your way to sustainability when the challenge is structural and not operational. Similarly, expanding programs without addressing financial viability will only accelerate the crisis. It's true. The more programs you have, the more impact you will see. However, this will put more demands on already strained organizations, and that will not be a solution. At this point, we can no longer continue pretending as if the challenge does not exist, hoping it will resolve itself. Fact of the matter is that managing year to year without strategic response will inevitably lead to a path of organizational failure. I will not support that path, and the board should not accept such a path. According to your annual report, the board has tasked management with a comprehensive operational financial review to be completed by the second quarter of 2025. I hope this review is now ready to be tabled, as it will inform the necessary decisions about program scope, organizational structure, and funding strategy. I know that such decisions will not be comfortable. Some programs will be and may need to be eliminated. Therefore, I want to emphasize about incremental adjustment, that here it's about strategic decision-making and its intention. Chair, we're moving away from structural increment. Strategic decision-making. And it's quite uncomfortable. In the department, we had to cut funding for Quintal 5. I'm sure you've seen in the media. The uproar. But the beauty about it, we have not broken the law. We just said, because Gauteng was such a nice province, we had so much money, we're giving them more than the Gazette says we must give. The Gazette said we must give them 315 per learner. So what we used to give them around DDG 840, around 840 per learner. But the Gazette says 315. So because of our financial situation, we just reverted to the Gazette, 315. So now they are saying it's mismanagement, it's us, it's the department. What the department is experiencing is not unique to Gauteng. And that's what is affecting also yourselves, the grant, how much we give you. It's not unique. It's what the sector is experiencing across the country. The sector is on the brink of collapse. I had a discussion with the minister, and she's Xhosa. Said, John, I see, I will collapse under Minalonto. The collapse is real. It needs money. Treasury, National Treasury must give the sector money. If it doesn't, I can tell you, we might be maybe the second last or last province to really collapse, because we do take we took some decisions long ago and has positioned us a little bit better to survive a couple of years, 2 years or so forward. But if nothing happens, I can tell you, you will see some provinces have already collapsed. Their provincial treasury have subjected them to Section 18, something that they've also threatened with us. I don't mind it, honestly. I don't mind it. If the Treasury gets excited to Section 18, let them. I think they don't understand it. what it says. It says we are taking over payment. So I don't mind them taking over payment. Then we can we can work with whatever we have. So if they want to take it, it's okay. If you want to take paying this particular program, even better. Because I feel like they're hogging some money somewhere. So DDG, don't worry. If they say they want to implement Section 18 on some of the things, let's give them quickly so that we can continue working on what matters for us as a department. Because they tried it in KZN. Now the MEC is stressed. The Treasury MEC is stressed. They can't find money. Because we got excited, went into the media, said, no, we're taking over, implementing Section 18. They did. Now we must pay. Because the problem doesn't disappear. The problem remains and needs to be resolved. And it can only be resolved by funding. So we took that strategic decision that we're going to revert to what the Gazette says, 315 Rand. And now people are complaining. I thought they didn't need this money because it's quintal 5, but I've realized I was wrong. Considering how much submissions I get for investment bank accounts that these schools are opening. Actually, I must request a list, DDG, of those schools with investment accounts and how much they should have by now. And how much are in those accounts, so that when they come, each one, I tell them, you've got 50 million. I just cut you for 2 million Rand. Why are you making noise? You've got 50, you can sustain for quite a number of years. What is the uproar about? So that's what I should do in preparation, so that when they come forward, because the lawyers have come forward. I mean, we've received a couple of legal challenges from the usual suspect, AfriForum, of course, not surprising. We received it from Solidarity, not surprising. But SGB associations know that we're not wrong. Chair of Mithukoni, we're not wrong. They know the Gazette, what the Gazette says. But they will try to vilify us. So the funding challenge, colleagues, I know that you said we must double our funding. I say, no, we must double. I want to double, but I won't double now. Chair, I won't double now to the board. I'm your friend. I want to double, but not now. Now we're in a difficult situation. I mean, we've experienced budget cuts to the tune of around 12 billion in the past 5 years. That's how much we've experienced as GDE, 12 billion. So we're currently operating 12 billion less than what we should be operating on. 5 years ago, the department was in a better off position. 5 years later, it's operating 12 billion Rand less. And we are further expected to do more cuts. So you can imagine the battle in the department who must experience cuts. And the DDG who suffers the most, I know it's you. I know it's you. And the challenge is, when you invest in her branch, you are investing in the classroom. That's the difference. But when you invest in education support, you are investing outside the classroom. And the department must invest where? In the classroom. That's why we need money, not outside. But currently, we're spending more outside. And it's very important. I mean, it's not like outside. When I'm saying outside, I'm speaking about social intervention. How much we're spending on nutrition. How much we're spending on scholar transport. How much we're spending on infrastructure. Those are outside things. So, but what we should be investing is inside. Contrary to our colleagues in China, I'm sure they're putting more inside the classroom as opposed to outside. You know. But we don't have a choice, colleagues. I don't have a choice. The social challenges of our province and our community is real. We have to feed children, we have to transport them, but more importantly, we also have to give them proper infrastructure of which they learn. And this is where we've been dealing with. And it's a problem. However, where I'm sitting now, I want to say to all of you, I do believe we've turned the corner. We've turned the corner, especially on infrastructure, with the number of schools that are coming up. We're turning the corner in our financial management. We entered last financial year with huge accruals, but I do believe in the next financial year we'll enter with less accruals, far less. There's a belief that we must enter with zero. It's not going to be possible. But as long as they are far less, it would greatly help in the next financial year. Then when we do give grant funding, it will be more than what we have in this financial year. So don't be despondent and worried that what is happening, it's a sector-wide problem. National Treasury has promised us to respond, so we'll hear the minister what you'll give us, but I'm certain there will be an intervention, because if not, it's going to be red across. It's going to be red across the country. Last year, I spoke about the 4IR, educational equity, and the critical need to ensure that all young people, particularly girls, have access to STEM education that prepares them for opportunities and challenges ahead. I quoted the late President, statesman, Nelson Mandela, when he said, open quote, "Education is the great engine of personal development. What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to lives of others." Close quote. For many of our learners and teachers, Sci-Bono represents that difference. It represents institutional capacity that Gauteng has built over 2 decades. That capacity is an asset. It is not a luxury. It is infrastructure that serves the province's educational future. But the truth is, infrastructure that requires investment. Real infrastructure, whether roads, water systems, or educational institution, does not sustain itself through goodwill alone. It requires deliberate, multi-stakeholder investment. So today, I stand before you, and I want to make a clarion call to all of us who are in government, to our corporate partners, to civil society, to Sci-Bono's leadership. To us who are in government, we must determine our commitment level and communicate it clearly. If we value Sci-Bono's contribution to STEM education in Gauteng, we must fund it properly. That means multi-year certainty and grant funding. And it means government support for organizational sustainability. To our corporate partners, partnerships must be formalized, sustained, and strategically aligned. Ad hoc sponsorship is insufficient and evidently unsustainable. To civil society and international donors, Sci-Bono's excellence is continental and global. Those relationships must be pursued with intentionality. And to the board of Sci-Bono and its leadership. This is your moment. Just like I said to Matthew Goniwe, School of Leadership and Governance, this organization finds itself at an inflection point. Depending on the decisions you take now, this organization will emerge on the other side stronger or at its weakest. Sci-Bono has earned the right to lead STEM education in Gauteng. But leadership requires sustainability, and that sustainability requires decisions, uncomfortable, strategic, and decisive decisions that must be made now. The next 90 days will determine whether Sci-Bono emerges as a learner, as a leader, more focused, more sustainable institution, ready for another 20 years of impact, or whether we watch institutional capacity that took 2 decades to build gradually decline. I'm confident that with the right decisions made collaboratively, made transparently, made with intention, Sci-Bono will emerge from this period stronger, more focused, and positioned for sustained impact. Not because the challenge is easy, but because the people here today have already proven they can turn commitment into results. This is what leadership means. This is what we owe to the learners. This is what we owe to the teachers, and this is what we owe to the communities you serve. This is what the province expects from an institution it values. I'm with you in this. Government is with you. Now it's your turn to lead Sci-Bono into the next chapter. The time for incremental adjustment has passed. So to the leadership, act now. I thank you.
Thank you very much, MEC. We are truly led. Thank you for the very apt and frank assessment of the challenge here and now. But thanks for the encouragement and confidence that we can emerge victorious on the other side of the challenges. Together with all our partners, I'm sure we will certainly emerge victorious out of this current situation. Without further ado, I would like to invite the Company Secretary, Dr. Ndabezita, to come and deliver the governance report, please.
Program Director, Honorable MEC Cholwane, our esteemed board members under the leadership of Mr. Vet Boy, board members from sister organizations, our CEO, Professor Nsobi, CEOs from sister organizations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by expressing my sincere apologies for not addressing you from the podium. I am currently facing a little bit of a physical challenge. But ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you that mentally, spiritually, and psychologically, I am 100% okay. And even though I am experiencing a minor physical challenge, I can still do basic things. If the situation calls for dancing, I can still do it, you know, I can still do everything. On a more serious note, I am very privileged to present the governance report for the year ended in March 2025. This report reflects our continued commitment to the highest standard of corporate governance. A commitment rooted not only in compliance, but in the principles of accountability, integrity, yes, thank you. Integrity and transparency. Good corporate governance is a foundation for sustainable business performance and stakeholder confidence. Consequently, over the past year, we have strengthened our governance framework, enhanced our board effectiveness, and deepened our focus on a responsible decision-making. In my report, I will be reflecting on the key aspects of our governance structures, the performance of the board and its committees, as well as the steps we have taken to ensure that our governance practices remain robust and aligned to the strategic objectives of Sci-Bono. Ultimately, our desire is not to see governance as a mere process, but as a culture that defines the way we conduct business at Sci-Bono. With that, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take you through the highlights of the governance report. Firstly, I will be looking at the governance framework. Secondly, our board composition, board meetings and attendance, key board committees in terms of their mandate, as well as their attendance of meetings. Then look at the key governance highlights and conclude my presentation. At Sci-Bono, governance oversight is vested with the board of directors, who hold the ultimate responsibility and authority to ensure that the mission of the organization is fulfilled in a legal, ethical, and transparent manner. In exercising its governance oversight, the board of directors is guided and informed by principles derived from the Companies Act of 2008, the Non-Profit Organization Act of 1997, our approved Memorandum of Incorporation, as well as the King 4 Principles of Good Governance. As a custodian of good governance, the board of directors at Sci-Bono has its roles and responsibilities clearly defined and articulated principally in the board charter, the code of good conduct for board members, as well as other governance documents. In terms of our memorandum of incorporation and the board charter, the board comprises 11 directors, 10 non-executive directors, and 1 executive director who is the chief executive officer. The roles and responsibilities of the CEO and the chairperson of the board are clearly separated and clearly delineated in the governance documents of the organization. This is done to ensure that there is a clear balance of power and authority in the organization. Currently, the membership of our board is made up of Mr. A.B. Vetboy, who is the chairperson, Dr. Nandipa Madiba, maybe I'm wrong to say currently, during the year under review, which is the year that ended in March 2025. The board comprised of Mr. A.B. Vetboy, Dr. Nandipa Madiba, Mr. Godfrey Sotetsi, Menum Banda, Prof. Kuligani Sitole, Advocate Lense Mohatle, Prof. Bongan Bantwini, Mr. Z. Malele, our program director, Ms. Patricia Maloko, Mr. Mashane Mpahlele, and Professor Mfanele Nsobi. In terms of the skills of the board, I'm happy to report that the board possesses sufficient knowledge, skills, and expertise. And the size of the board is appropriate for the scope and activities of Sci-Bono. Diversity remains an issue, but the board is working hard to address that challenge. In terms of board meetings and attendance, in accordance with our Memorandum of Incorporation, the board is required to hold 4 meetings per year. During the period under review, the board held 10 meetings, 4 ordinary meetings, 1 AGM, 4 workshops, and 1 special meeting. In terms of attendance, it was 100%. Now let me come to the standing committees of the board. We've got 5 standing committees of the board. The Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee, the Finance Committee, Remuneration and Human Resources Committee, Science, Technology, Innovation, Research and Research Committee, and what's the 5th one? I'll remember the 5th one pretty soon. The Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee, which is constituted in terms of the Companies Act and its charter. Its mandate is, or rather, it has oversight of financial reporting, internal controls, risk management, internal and external audit, as well as compliance. In terms of composition, it comprises 3 non-executive directors plus 3 independent external members. During the period under review, the members of the committee were Dr. Nandi Pamatiba, was the chairperson, Mr. Zet Malele, Mr. Godfrey Sotetsi, and our external independent members were Ms. Monica Chalet, Mr. Stembele James, and Ms. Felicia Koza, who joined right at the end of the financial year. The committee is mandated to have 4 meetings per year, and during the period under review, the committee had 6 meetings and the attendance was excellent. The Finance Committee, whose mandate is financial management, budget compliance, finance policy, supply chain management, risk and risk management. In terms of membership, it was made up of Mayor Patricia Maloka, who is the chairperson of the committee, Professor Bongani Bantwini, Mr. Godfrey Sotetsi, and Mayor Nomdeni Panda. In terms of its terms of reference, the committee is required to have 4 meetings per year. During the period under review, the committee had 4 regular meetings and 6 special meetings. The attendance was excellent. The Governance, Nominations and Socials and Ethics Committee, which has oversight of ethics, compliance with the Companies Act, governance, social responsibility, and corporate citizenship. In terms of its membership, it is chaired by Mr. Ebi Vetboy, and its members are Mr. Mashane Mpahlele, Advocate Lense Mokhatle, and Mayor Nomdeni Panda. In terms of its terms of reference, the committee is required to hold 4 meetings per year, and during the period under review, the meeting had 4 meetings, and the attendance was excellent. The Human Resources, the Remuneration and Human Resources Committee, REMCO, its purpose or mandate, its oversight of HR issues, training and development, employee relations, remuneration and strategic staffing issues. In terms of membership, the committee is chaired by Professor Kulegani Sitole, and its members are Mr. Mashane Mpahlele, Ms. Patricia Maloko, and Advocate Lance Mokhatle. In accordance with its terms of reference, the committee is required to hold 4 meetings per year, and during the period under review, the committee had 5 meetings, that is 4 ordinary meetings and 1 special meeting. Again, the attendance was excellent. Science, Technology, Innovation and Research Committee, which has oversight of core and non-core operations of the organization, including science, technology, innovation, research, and information and communication technology. It's got 4 members under the chairmanship of Mr. Zet Nalele, Professor Bongani Bantwini, Mr. Dr. Nandi Pamatibe, and Professor Kulegani Sitole. In line with its terms of reference, the committee is required to hold 4 meetings per year, and during the period under review, the committee had 4 meetings and the attendance was excellent. The key governance highlights that I would like to bring to your attention. Sci-Bono Discovery Centre has a strong governance framework. The board and its committees are fully functional with excellent attendance. There is strong adherence to statutory requirements and King IV principles. And there is an issue of improving diversity, and the board is currently working hard on addressing that challenge. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the board of directors at Sci-Bono remains committed to transparency, accountability, sustainable governance, as well as continuous improvement in governance practices. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Company Secretary, for unpacking our governance arrangement. I noticed that you have indicated that attendance was excellent. So thank you to the various directors and members of various committees for the commitment. Without further ado, I would like to just complete some of the protocol issues and acknowledge a few people. I've got 1 finding already. I must acknowledge the chair of Matthew Goniwe, my brother Tsidiso Ledimo. Thank you very much, you acknowledged. And of course, when I did the same thing earlier, I've got a finding. I forgot to recognize the chair of the ARC Risk and Compliance Committee, which I'm correcting the finding now. And when I did the same earlier, my sister Patricia Maluka wasn't here. You are also acknowledged. Thank you very much. Without further ado, I would like to invite the chair of Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee, who is brand new from the box, to come and do your maiden performance. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Program Director, Honorable MEC, Mr. Chilwane, DDG, Chairperson of Matthew Koningwe, Chairperson of Sci-Bono, Chinese Embassy, Chief Executive Officer of Matthew Koningwe, our own Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Ntobi, management, board members, stakeholders, and esteemed guests. They say being on an audit and risk committee, it's like being a goalkeeper. You only get noticed when something goes wrong. Thankfully, at Sci-Bono, we're working hard, just like Kaizer Chiefs. So we're working hard so we make sure that fewer goals are scored against us. I know most people won't agree, but yeah, we're working hard. It's my privilege to present the reports of the Audits, Risk and Compliance Committee for the financial year ended 31 March 2025. My report will include our role as the committee, internal controls, governance risk, financial perspective, commitment to good governance, and acknowledgement, announcement, and closing. So starting with our mandate, I'm just a bit nervous. It's, yeah. The Audit and Risk Compliance Committee serves as an independent governance structure, providing oversight of Sci-Bono's financial reporting, risk management, internal controls, compliance, and assurance processes. The committee operates in accordance with the approved charter, Companies Act, and the principle of King IV report on corporate governance. Our mandate includes evaluating the adequacy, the effectiveness of internal control systems, assessing the reliability and integrity of financial reporting, overseeing the organization's risk management framework, ensuring compliance and relevant legislation. We also ensure the independence, quality, and effectiveness of both the internal and external audit functions. Critical components of accountability, transparency. In fulfilling this role, the committee provides the board and stakeholders with assurance that Sci-Bono operates with integrity and sound governance practices. Moving on to internal controls and assurance environment. During the year under review, we've observed encouraging improvement in Sci-Bono's internal control environment and in the quality of management reporting. The internal audit plan was successfully implemented. Management's responsiveness to prior audit findings has improved significantly. However, certain control weaknesses persist, particularly in ITC and asset management areas. The committee has directed management to prioritize these matters, and we are pleased to report that corrective actions are already underway. Our partnership with PKM Internal Audits as appointed auditors continues to add value to Sci-Bono's assurance environment. Their independent assessment has helped strengthen controls, promote a culture of accountability across the organization. Governance and risk. On the governance of risk, the organization reviewed and strengthened its risk management policy and strategy, ensuring better alignment between strategic objectives, risk registers, and operational performances. While some risk mitigation plans were not implemented as quickly as expected, the new framework approved by the board will ensure proactive risk management, ensure more consistent monitoring of emerging risk, and strengthen accountability across departments. The committee will continue to oversee the process closely to ensure that risk management culture remains embedded throughout the organization. Financial perspective. From a financial perspective, the committee noted ongoing challenges relating to cash flow, largely due to reduced funding allocations from government, delayed payments, and increased delivery program costs, which placed significant pressure on the organization's operation budget. In addition, The delays in government funds adversely affected liquidity, compelling the organization to obtain an overdraft and to make early withdrawals from its investment portfolio to sustain operation and meet its financial obligation. Despite this financial constraints, Sci-Bono remained resilient, continued to deliver on its educational and development mandate with unwavering commitment. Programs were executed, learners were reached, and the spirit of innovation that defines Sci-Bono continued to shine, even in constrained environment. Importantly, the organization received an unqualified audit opinion from the external auditors, a result that reflects the credibility and the reliability of Sci-Bono's financial statements. That said, we must also acknowledge some regression in aspects of financial reporting compared to prior. Management has recognized these gaps and prioritized corrective measures to restore the high standards expected and to strengthen the integrity of our financial systems and reporting processes. As the Audit and Risk Compliance Committee, we remain confident that these interventions, supported by ongoing collaboration between management, internal audits, and the board, will result in sustained improvement and financial sustainability. Commitment to good governance. Let me close this section with a thought that captures the essence of our work. Good governance is like oxygen. You only notice it when it's not there. At Sci-Bono, our role as the Audit and Risk and Compliance Committee is to ensure that this oxygen continues to flow, nurturing integrity, accountability, and trust in everything we do. I would like to acknowledge the following: the Board of Directors for their unwavering support and guidance, the Chief Executive Officer and management team for their cooperation, transparency, commitment to strengthening governance, our internal and external auditors for their professionalism and valuable insights, and finally, to the fellow members of the Audit and Risk Compliance Committee for their diligence, dedication, and independent thinking throughout the year. I'm going to move on to announcements. I'm pleased to announce that Rakoma and Associates have been reappointed as the external auditors for 2026 financial year. Their continued partnership ensures continuity and confidence in the integrity of Sci-Bono's audit process. Closing, together we continue to strengthen Sci-Bono's governance foundations, ensure that accountability remains at the heart of all we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair of ARC. Clearly, the issue of governance runs throughout all the committees. And thanks, we've already started feeling your very tough hand on issues of governance as a new chairperson of the ARC. We appreciate that, and thank you very much going forward. I would like to move without further ado to the last item on the agenda, which is a vote of thanks by my sister, Patricia Maluka.
Good afternoon to all the valued guests. My task this afternoon is a very, very easy one. I've been mandated by my leader, the chairperson of the board, Mr. Abi Vedboy, to stand here and express our heartfelt gratitude to all the valued guests for taking the time to join in this very important and memorable annual event of rendering accountability, but as well as of making sure that we do some reflections as it has happened and it has been occasioned by various speakers as they presented. I believe at this stage all protocols have been observed, and just for the brevity, I would like just to go into the heart of the matter. I've been introduced earlier on. Most of the comments by various speakers have also been quite succinct, so there's no need to reiterate. But allow me at this stage to take this privilege to just appreciate in particular the Honorable MEC for the inspiration, for the candid nature in which actually he reflected on the state of affairs. MEC, we are truly grateful to have a leader that would sound the bell for time to reckon. And I could conclude on behalf of the board by saying we have heard you with the hearing of the heart. We understood every sentiment expressed quite vivid, succinctly. The 90 days, MEC, we promise that we'll do the reviews, but most importantly, we are inspired by still your confidence and the commitment that you are with us. And this is a journey that we navigate under your leadership. We really thank you and sincerely for that. Please allow me to just acknowledge also my erstwhile leadership, in particular a special mention, my board chairperson, Comrade Tsidiso Lidimu, and my former CEO. It's indeed a great pleasure and honor to welcome you to Sci-Bono. The collaboration has grown more mature, very impactful, and over time, and we're really grateful. I'd like also to acknowledge DDG. I know that MEC mentioned structural issues of funding, but you've been on the other side where, as the Finance Committee, we have issues, and on the other side, from the program side, there's been those, but thank you so much that we managed to navigate, and one or the other, the programs have been delivered, and MEC has attested to the fact that the quality cannot be questioned at this stage. So we really appreciate the collaboration for this joint effort. I would like to also just come back and then home and maybe deal with the issues of protocols. Acknowledge our chairperson, Mr. Abi Vetboy. I think Mr. Vetboy has been also an epitome of candid leadership. We've had all these discussions, but that has not been quite easy. That has been also complemented by the fact that he has managed to gather together a board of directors, and I think members, previous speakers have attested to the robustness of discussions, the intensity of decisiveness on various issues, and kind of the audacious, kind of endeavors to take steps around issues of sustainability. This has not been easy. I would like just to acknowledge the various chairpersons also of committees. Chairpersons normally have to provide some kind of very, very difficult leadership in terms of reorganization, in terms of being also very contextual about issues, and making sure that what the COSEC, Dr. Ndabisita mentioned, good governance is enhanced. So to all the chairpersons of various committees, structured committees, I would like to also appreciate you during this event. Let me also appreciate COSEC. I have no doubt that we appreciated the fact that despite the setback, you had really presented a good overall report. All the management under the Professor Nzobi, thank you so much, CEO. I think we've never had a situation where management and the board collaborate at such a very close and very decisive impact to make sure that the institution stays afloat. I always categorize you as an eagle that flies straight into the heart of the storm. Thank you so much, and we believe that you are born for times such as this. Thank you for that leadership. And to the management team that have supported the CEO, would like to appreciate, we know there were difficult times where we have to make some trade-offs in terms of the budgets and other things, but I would like to also express that all the directors, all the managers, all the admin staff, the back staff, the IT, for making sure that this, and the organizing committee under the executive manager, in the office of the CEO, thank you for making this event what it is and a success it is. We thank you also to our corporate sponsors. I think the challenge, MEC has laid the challenge bare that we need to graduate from ad hoc funding, but try and structure that our funding becomes more cohesed and more formalized in order for greater impact. I would like to further engage that during for subsequent session, there's networking, but please ensure that the commitments and the collaboration amidst these changes grow stronger in order to be able to avert what could be the worst calamity of a 20-year organization having to close shop. So we believe at this stage that we are all joined together with one endeavor to make sure that the learners are the primary beneficiaries. I would like to end up with a quote by Neil Armstrong, who said, all the time you take one step by a man, meaning all of us, not men as in a very sexist manner, but men. But every step that you take leads to one giant leap for mankind. So we are at this stage, we are involved and we are concerned about mankind, and the learner is at the heart of it. I would like to thank you all. Please enjoy further the benevolence of Sci-Bono Discovery Centre. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my sister. I don't want to do what other people say, which means you spoil a good thing by doing a less than good thing. But I know that I'm standing between you and the culinary experience that I promised you earlier. So I want to very quickly dispense with two important things. The first one is that there will be a QR code which will allow you to run through a very brief survey for us to assist us to be even better next time on certain things. It's very, very quick. And as soon as the QR code appears, please assist us in that regard. Secondly, I've got two giveaways, compliment of the CEO of Sci-Bono. I'm going to ask very simple questions based on what transpired here today. And the first correct answer will win, basically two people will win the gifts here. The first question is, and I thought very hard about these questions. The first question is, how old did the CEO say Sci-Bono is? Thank you very much, 21 years. You can definitely come forward for this very important gift. Maybe I should announce what it is. It's actually knowledge captured in what we normally refer to as a book. The title is Breaking the Silent Cry, a journey of healing and resilience. You'll find lots of value in this book. Thank you. I still have got one more. If you listen very carefully, the chair of ARC Risk and Compliance equated the importance of governance to an element of the periodic table. Which element was it? We were not listening to the ARC chair. Yes. Oxygen. Was it oxygen, Chair? Yes, it was. It was oxygen. And there's no disqualification. Even members of the department can win. Congratulations. Thank you very much.